Dig this. Have you ever listened to a song and at one point in the song it all makes sense? The lyric just takes on a new meaning, or there's a clever turn of a phrase, and suddenly it all becomes clear. You're like, oh wow, this song is awesome. That's something I like to call the aha moment. Now this is a planned event by the lyricist, and I want to give you some tools to create this. We're going to go into these three. The first one is what I like to call the first line wraparound. This is where you take that first line of your song and you use it again at the end of your song, but it either has a new meaning to it or it creates a cycle in which the first line makes sense again, and then that continuous pattern keeps going round and round. For example, if you write a song that starts with the phrase, I have no reservations, and it's kind of like, life was so busy, significant other, honey, that I forgot to make reservations for our anniversary. We've been just so busy and I've been caught up in things and I realize this kind of thing, but I have no reservations and I'm sorry. But at the end of the song you say, but I have no reservations about loving you for the rest of my life. That's a nice turn of events. You took that phrase, you turned it around, the audience gets to that point, they go, aha, I get it. And that's a satisfying lyric. Here's another example. Let's say that you have a song starts with that's the way it goes. Okay, that's the way it goes. So the song is about being complacent in a relationship and starting not to really see the other person, and that's just the way it goes, and the relationship gets a little stale, and at the end of it, that's the way it goes, meaning that's the way love goes out the door. That's the way it goes, literally. And then it cycles back again where the relationship begins, and that's the way it goes. Excitement at the beginning, goes through the cycle. Of course, healthy relationship, you might want to stop that cycle, but sometimes that's the way it goes. Ooh, that was bad. The next one I like to get into is called the surprise wraparound. I'm a fan of this one. And let's say that you're writing a love song. And the love song goes, I can't imagine living without you. You're the best thing that ever happened to me. You're my best friend. We do everything together. This is just so amazing. And at the end of the song, you find out, hey, singer's talking about his dog or his cat, whatever it happens to be. So you take the listener and they're going in one direction, and when they get to the end, it's flipped on them, and they're like, I get it. Yeah, it's about his dog. I totally see that. Another example of this is, let's say you write a song about this guy who's a real bastard. It's like, oh, this guy does this kind of stuff wrong, and he does this thing wrong, and he's doing this stuff wrong, and this kind of thing. And at the end of the song, you find out that that guy who's being a real idiot, that's me. So the audience goes through this, and then they get flipped at the end. They're like, oh, wow, yeah, I can see that. It's a I hate me type of thing. Totally get it. The next one is what I like to call little movies. And this is where you take little vignettes, little stories, and when you connect those stories, they end up having a meaning that's beyond what the story actually is. So let's say you're writing about being a kid and you lived near a lake that had this factory and you used to go fishing there, and then one year all the fish died and you were bummed because you couldn't go fishing. Then the next story is you're still a little boy and you want to play with your neighborhood friend, but your neighborhood friend can't come out because his mom is sick. And you're like, oh, that's a terrible thing. And then in the next vignette, you fast forward a few years and find out because of the pollution that you encountered from this factory and this lake and the groundwater and all this kind of stuff, you're basically really sick and you got, 6 months to live. Man, that is morose, but it would make it as a song idea. So there are some tools that you can use to create an aha moment in your song. Now go ahead and write some great songs. I really dig that.